Hello, DFS fantasy football nerds, and welcome to our weekly catch game segment on the Big D podcast. Before I bring in the night's special guest, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page where you don't know what to expect. It might be DFS, it might be football, might be golf, might be baseball, or something else. So, also, if you're more into audio, check out the Big D podcast on Spotify and Apple. So, joining us for his weekly catch game segment is my friend Charles Sears. Charles, are you happy it's week 4 because those last minute lineup changes really worked out for you? Not.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely happy that week 3 is over with. I had no bearings on what happened. And then like I think I was on a call with you like an hour or two before the game started, and I changed my lineup. I got off Kelce, and my number one rule. Well, my rules for cash game is try to pay down a quarterback. That definitely didn't pay off. Like Fields, Jared Goff were the two guys I was eyeing. They both put up a dud. Um, and if Kelce's on the slate, put Kelce in your cash game lineup. Like I try to stick to those rules. And the quarterback thing, that's okay. You're going to get that sometimes when you're paying, bare minimum for quarterback. But I did a pivot and changed up my lineup, and I ended up with Hockenson and Tyson Williams in my lineup. Now, don't get me wrong, 63% in the massive double up played Hockenson, but that was definitely off the market. The only good thing about my lineup, realistically, is, Cooper Kupp is almost getting that auto fill lineup that Kelce has this year. So it's just like Kupp, Kelce, and then I think I'm just going to not pay up a running back now, too, and just stick to like 7,000 to 6,000 and $5,000 running backs. Just forget them all and forget all those top guys. You don't need them. You just need a good, 20 points from all your players. And was that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? Yeah. You get around 20-ish points from all your players. Like you're at 160 and you're well above the cut line. And that was another thing too. Like this week, the average cut line or the average cash game cut line was 144. Is that right? I don't have it yet, but yeah, it was like 144 or something like that, like a good 15-ish points higher than what it was the first 2 weeks. So how'd you end up doing?
I mean, it was so. I think it was more just staying even. I mean, my main cash lineup I used against you got me 148. I mean, I was happy with my Rams, Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Tyler Higbee got me some good points. Derrick Henry got over 100 yards. I mean, I was a little bummed with Joe Mixon. Went back and forth with my running backs. It went with Mixon and Mike Davis. And when I saw Antonio Gibson catch a 75-yard touchdown pass, I'm like, darn it, darn it.
Yeah, I was definitely on Gibson. I like his price tag. I like his productivity. I don't know why he seems like he's always priced around like 61, 6,200. Like he seems like he should be priced a little bit higher than that.
And then,
Um,
yeah, I mean, there was some weird price with these starting running backs. And of course, Keenan Allen got me another 19 points. I mean, Keenan Allen's bad day is what, 18, 19 points? Like he's always in that 18 to 20 point realm.
yeah, I mean, he definitely does his thing. Like he's super productive on team. He went from 13 targets to 8 targets to 12 targets. So I mean, he's getting the targets. So I mean, like he's probably like almost Cooper Kupp status, where it's just if you could put Keenan Allen in your lineup, you should probably do that because he's getting the targets. It's just, you know, if his bad days are like 19, 17.8 points, I mean, that's pretty good. Like so far, his worst day was 17.8 against Dallas when he was only targeted 8 times, but he got 4 of them for 108 yards. So, I mean, that right there, like they're just giving him the ball and feeding it to him. He only got 50 yards against KC. I just realized he only had 50 yards against KC, but because he is full point PBR with 8 catches and a touchdown, like that's a 19 point. Like you're happy with that, I would imagine.
Yeah. And then,
Nice little 3x on your return on your investment. I see you
yeah.
played KJ Osborne though. How happy were you with that?
I was a little bummed, but 3,500, I thought I could get away with it. I mean, looking back on it, I wish I had used Deshaun Jackson and maybe the Bengals defense, but I mean, I got 100. I'm hopeful of getting 145, 150 points with my main cash line. Did it this week, so hope the Rocket.
I don't think that was a terrible move. Like I don't think I would play Deshaun Jackson. Like
No, yeah, Deshaun's a GPP play. He probably won somebody a million.
oh yeah, more likely.
Close, but that's more.
You played Mike Davis too, and
I
11
mean,
points.
The Falcons have pissed me off so many times. I mean, Calvin Ridley's been a major bust. Matt Ryan's disappointed everybody. Mike Davis has not been great. I mean,
Yeah, like so. If we look at your lineup real quick, you got Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, and Mike Davis. So, yeah, here we go. So the big thing is, like, I think with full point PBR, like Mike Davis just could have been like a $5,100 wide receiver. And you probably would have been slightly better. Like you can see on my lineup, like Odell Beckham was 53. So if you would have just paid down you went from Titans to Bengals, that would have been $300. And then you just turned Mike Davis into Odell Beckham. And then, you would have got, a couple more points. But I mean, like the big thing is like the 5 catches sort of make up like, it gives you a higher floor, it feels like now with wide receivers. Like I'm starting to realize that. I really wish I could stop looking at my lineup because Tyson Williams was just, I don't know, like I thought that game was going to be a lot different and it just definitely didn't. It played a lot closer than I thought it was.
Tyson only rushed the ball 5 times.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like if that entire game, I gotta look at that game script, but like I don't know, not the game script, but the actual like what happened that game. But I think Detroit is on the low, like the best worst team in the NFL. Like they seem to be competing, like they're putting up numbers. I mean, the San Francisco game was a comeback. Obviously, it's Green Bay on primetime. Like that was, but I mean, like they look kind of impressive at times. Like, it's like, are they really that bad of a team? I mean, they're definitely rebuilding, that's for sure. Like new coach, new staff, like, you sort of know what you're getting into. But I mean, like if I was Detroit fans or the players, anyone in the organization, I would feel somewhat good. And then they quote unquote got cheated in that game when they shouldn't even completed that 4th down or whatever it was.
Yeah, the delay of game.
Yeah. And the ref still allowed the ball to be snapped like almost 2 full seconds after the clock hit 0. So it's definitely questionable. Like with my lineup, the biggest regret is Hockenson, Kamara, and Tyson Williams. Like I felt like the ball was going to go through Kamara. He got 20 points, but it's like I was all over Saquon this weekend, and I had right before I made the changes 2 hours before start time. I had Saquon in this lineup. I'm pretty sure I had Najee Harris as well. So I think I was really liking my lineup. And it's just like, for some reason, I changed Kelce to Hockenson for some silly reason. And it definitely didn't work out. How many targets did Hockenson have? Oh, only 2. Jesus. Like what? That must have been the ugliest game in the world.
Yeah. Like, no wonder why nobody scored for the Lions.
I know, right? Just had the wrong side. Like having the running back and the tight end in that game and just thinking like, oh man, they're going to give me like 45 points combined. And just like, nope.
And they got you what, 4 points?
5.2. And I'll throw Jared Goff in there too. Why not? Give me an extra almost 15 points. I didn't even get 15 points between three players. Like,
yeah, you're not going to win unless you've got Devin Hester going for 50, right?
yeah, it's like I need everyone else to pop off. Like, I mean, I had Cooper Kupp. Tyler Boyd seemed like a good punt play. I originally had him in my original lineup. I was happy about rostering him. And then I shifted to Madison. And what was it? More than 50% of the field had Madison on their cash lineup. So there's a few things. Like, I think I'm going to lock in Saturday night and not do anything. And then maybe if there's like an injury, like the Dalvin Cook thing, maybe make a separate cash lineup and see how I like that. And then just like, all right, do I stick with this one or do I have this one, or maybe rearrange my lineup to where I can switch out either the hurt player or switch in the player that is going to benefit from someone being out on the 4:00 slate.
I agree. I didn't really make any change in my cash line for like Friday on. I was happy with my guys. So on the week 4 now, and as we go position by position, who you liking for your catching quarterback this week?
I mean, you know me, I'm a sucker and glutton for paying down a quarterback. So right now in my cash lineup, I put Matt Ryan up there at 5,400. Against Washington. Washington has been looking all that great on defense. I don't know what's going on there. But I mean, Matt Ryan against Tampa Bay put up 22 points. I mean, maybe that's why they signed Richard Sherman today, because Matt Ryan's putting up some touchdowns against them. But he also had 3 interceptions that game. Jesus. And he still put up 22 points. Wow. Okay. So that I'm at Matt Ryan's. I'm really not in love with anyone else in this low tier. Like maybe Jimmy Garoppolo against the Seahawks, because the Seahawks sort of seem soft on secondaries and against quarterbacks. Realistically, I want Aaron Rodgers in my cash game lineup at 6,800. That's who I really like.
I think Aaron Rodgers in cash game makes a lot of sense. I mean, he'll throw the ball. I mean, but I don't think Rodgers is the best play in that mid tier. I think Dak Prescott, $100 cheaper, might be a better play. And you think, well, the Cowboys ran the ball. Yeah, that's because they didn't have to throw the ball. Have you seen the Panthers play this year? Carolina's played really well on both sides of the ball. Now, sure, they played the Jets, the Jaguars, and the Texans, 3 of the 4 worst teams in football. So what? You know, Sam Darnold's played really well. I know CMC's not playing, but with DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Terrence Marshall, I think the Panthers are going to be throwing the ball more. And I think Dak will have to throw the ball more in this game. Plus, you've got CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. You've got 2 stud receivers there. You've got a great running back in Ezekiel Elliott. I think the Cowboys will throw the ball more. You think Mike McCarthy's running the ball 60% of the time again?
No, Mike McCarthy didn't even his play calling was kind of questionable.
But a few things were questionable, including time management. But
yeah, so the big thing with the Panthers matchup for Dallas is Panthers defense, even though they played the Jets and Houston 2 to 3 weeks so far, New Orleans, they definitely
I forgot they didn't play the Jags. They played the Saints, Jets, and Texans.
Yeah. So the hard thing is they played against New Orleans and they just stomped them. Like it wasn't even a contest for the most part. They got 2 interceptions, but there was also Jameis Winston. That was about what do you call it?
Bad Jameis.
Yeah, exactly. Like he just threw a lot more in that game. So Carolina was able to stop Kamara from going off that game. And I don't know exactly what Kamara did. Let's see here. Is he on the slate? Yeah. Real quick. Like he had only 8 rushes for 5 yards.
Oh God.
And then
oh gosh.
4 receptions on 6 targets for 25 yards. So they were able to stop Alvin Kamara and force the Saints to like, okay, you got to be with Jameis Winston. So with that sample, they could easily do that with Dallas, but we've seen that Dak and the wide receivers, you know, they don't need Elliott and Pollard to beat you. So are the Panthers going to hold the rushing game to and force Dak to beat them? Probably. I mean, we saw Houston with Brandon Cooks put up some points. So I mean, like, it could be a possibility where it's just an all Dak show. I do like what you said earlier before we started the show with Sam Darnold at 6,000 against Dallas's defense. That's looking very spicy. Now with McCaffrey out, it is interesting, but last week against Houston, Sam Darnold rushed for 2 touchdowns. So I was like, did he just take over the team when Christian McCaffrey went out? It's just like, all right, I got to score the touchdowns. Now it's like, that was kind of crazy. But I mean, he's gotten over 20 points all 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Even against the Saints the Saints defense is supposed to be slightly better than everyone else.
And he's thrown the ball between 35 and 38 or so times a game.
Mm-hmm.
Now with a 10-day break, Darnold could easily top 40 passes and what could be a shootout in all intent.
No, definitely. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a Hubbard show because Dallas they got multiple levels of scoring and they can attack you, you know, with their running backs. They can attack you with the wide receivers and even Schwartz a tight end. So this game could easily be a shootout or where the Carolina's coming from behind. And the big question mark about that game, I would say, is Carolina's defense. Are they legit? This is the test that we're going to see that with. And that's probably the only reason why I would not play Dak in cash, because like if Carolina's got a good defense and they're flowing, you know, they could do some good coverage maybe.
I mean, the Panthers have faced Zach Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tyrod Taylor. It's not like you faced. No,
they played against the backup. They played.
Davis Mills. Davis Mills.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, like I know the sample size isn't that great. Like I'm being 100% aware of that, but this holding the Saints to that much when what they did to Green Bay, there's got to be something there. There's got to be like, okay, this team just destroyed Green Bay, but then they made it look like a college team against Carolina. There's something there, I feel like. So that's the only reason why I would be hesitant. But I mean, like realistically, I would rather pay up for Rodgers than at Dak at this price point. Or Sam Darnold at 6,000. All the cheap running backs sort of burned me last week. So I'll probably be paying mid-tier this week for it. Even Jalen Hurts at 6,900. Like he's looking saucy right there. So who are you liking at running back? Are you going to pay out for one of the top tier guys, or are you looking at the mid-tier guys?
I think I'm going more high mid-tier, but did you see how many catches Najee Harris made last week? Holy mackerel. Did you see?
Yeah, it's the Najee Harris show. And with Juju out, I mean.
14 catches for 102 yards. That looked like Alvin Kamara week 3 against the Packers last year.
No, I definitely agree with you. And like I said, like I was upset that I had Najee Harris in my cash game lineup and I got off him. Najee sort of seems like the cash game lock. Like you just play him until like he's actually priced up to Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara price.
And he's only what, $100 more expensive this weekend? That seems befuddling.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I guess maybe because he's a rookie. Like it's just like he's being priced down. He's 200 more this week, but it's just like the ball, we've seen it. The ball goes through him. Like he's on the field at least 90% of the field like time. The only people that are on the field longer than him or as long as him is the offensive lineman and Big Ben. Like, he's going to see the ball. Najee Harris, like, for me now, there's three names that I'm going to probably always put in my cash game lineups if they're on the slate: Cooper Kupp, Najee Harris, Kelce. Like, those three guys right now, like, we know Kelce from last year, but it's like Cooper and Najee Harris is just on another level with just how much time they've been on the field. It's crazy. And he's still 6,800. He's still under 7K. That's just wild.
And then my second running back choice is a guy who annoyed a lot of people last week. Partly was his fault, but partly it was his head coach's fault. There's David Montgomery. I mean, with the Bears, I know it sounds ugly, but the Bears are a favorite. They need to run the ball. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Run the ball. Give David Montgomery the ball.
I don't know if that's going to happen. For me to roster David Montgomery, I would have to see who the starting running back or quarterback is, because like
that was embarrassing last week.
Like, he so far he's only had one, above average game, or where it was against the Los Angeles Rams, and he rushed for 108 yards and got a touchdown. He's not getting thrown the ball as much. He did see an uptick after week 1 from 1 target to 4 targets, but it's just, I really don't want to roster anyone on the Chicago Bears offense right now. Like, they're just like, the game flow, they're just an ugly team right now on offense. Nick Foles might be starting this Sunday. Who knows? Maybe this is the Super Bowl run for Chicago Bears, and Nick Foles just goes undefeated to the Super Bowl. So, like, I mean, that could happen. They have, Allen Robinson and David Montgomery to help with the star power, but I mean, like, I feel like they need more and they don't have it. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a fan of rostering David Montgomery, even though his price point at 5,800 is very appealing against a Detroit defense. But I mean, like, we saw what happened with Tyson Williams against Detroit last week. Like, he put up. Now, I think David Montgomery has earned more than Tyson Williams has, in far as, like, playing time and handoffs and targets and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. I would stay away from Chicago right now. Like, they just look like a hot mess.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting. Might be a situation. Wait till Sunday and figure out who's under center.
Mm-hmm.
So now from running back to wide receiver, and I think there are a couple of different ways we can go this week. I mean, I'd really like these 6K wide receivers this weekend. I really like both Cowboy receivers, and I really like DJ Moore. But to me, DraftKings made an egregious price there with Robert Woods. How in the world is he 5,300? Have you seen the Rams play this year? Matt Stafford's the MVP for 3 weeks.
It's easy because a gentleman by the name of Cooper Kupp is being favorited in targets, touchdowns. It's just like what Cooper Kupp does. Like, Robert Woods is just by the wayside. Like, maybe Robert Woods isn't that good of a player. That could be a thing too. Like, maybe Cooper Kupp was just a better wide receiver, and Robert Woods is a product of the system. That could be one thing. I mean, he was 5,700 3 weeks in a row, and now he's dropped down to 5,300. I don't know if I would play him in cash because, like, he's just not getting the targets as well. Like, he went from 4 targets in Chicago, 9 in Indianapolis, and 6 targets in Tampa Bay. And his completion rate is almost at slightly above 50%. Like, he's 3 for 6, 5 for 9, and then 3 for 4. Like, Cooper Kupp is just performing at a way better clip where I don't know if I would ever think about putting Robert Woods in my cash game lineup with a healthy Cooper Kupp that's getting double-digit targets for the first 3 weeks, 10, 11, 12. Like, what's going on? What's going on with that? Like, I just don't understand that at all. It's so brutal. Let me see. So, I mean, I do like this low range that you said, like the 6K range. You got CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, Adam Thielen's at 6,800. That's definitely good. What about the top tier guys? Like, I said I liked Brett. No, I almost called him Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers price this week. I mean, obviously, the guy that gets all the targets on Green Bay is Devontae Adams. So, how do you feel about him?
I don't like Devontae Adams this week. I
You love him?
love Devontae Adams this week. How about this? In 3 games, Devontae Adams has received 34 targets. And get this, on Sunday night, he caught 12 passes for 132 yards and a touchdown. And this is the first time Devontae Adams has been under 8K all year. Somebody explain that to me.
I think it's matchup.
So what if they're playing the Steelers? This isn't the Steel Conan for crying out loud. I mean, Jamar Chase scored 2 touchdowns against the Steelers last week.
No, I definitely agree with you. And this is Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. I mean, Devontae Adams so far has received 37% of the targets on this team in all 3 weeks. Like total, if you target or add up all the totals for the Green Bay Packer receivers, he's received 37% of them. That is crazy. Like he might be a good cash game play. Are you playing Adams over Kupp? I think so. This is what I think. The reason why Adams is at 7,900 when he was 8K, he was over 8K for the other ones, is because Cooper Kupp is a thing. So he sort of brought down all the top tier guys back down to his level, like DeAndre Hopkins. He's at 7,700. He does have some injury issues. So, I mean, that brought him down, and Cooper Kupp is higher than Diggs and Jefferson. And just the Cooper Kupp sort of like warping the field where it's bringing Tyreek Hill and Adams and Hopkins down to earth, but then Kupp is slowly like his price is getting increased too. So if the production still sees the same with Kupp, and then even with Adams, like, is Adams a good pivot from Kupp? Like, if you don't want to play Kupp just because you want to be contrarian, I think that's not a bad move.
I personally think Adams is the better playmaker. Yeah, they're playing outside, but I think Adams is the better receiver. Yeah, we know how well Stafford and Kupp have played, but this is Kupp's most expensive price tag of the season. When Adams is coming off 2 double-digit target games, and he's facing a banged-up Steeler defense with an aging quarterback. And yes, Aaron Rodgers is aging himself, but he won the MVP last year. And Devontae Adams it's basically Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Devontae Adams. If Devontae Adams got 12, 14, 15 targets this weekend, he'll eat. He will eat.
No, I definitely like, man, I don't know. Like, I like Adams, he's just, I mean, he could have just started off slow and then just now he's back up at Devontae Adams speed. Because, like, the game against Detroit, he had over 100 yards, got 23 points, 8 catches, and then last week, 12 catches, 18 targets. That is crazy. He doubled the amount of targets he had the first 2 weeks, more than doubled. And he still got a touchdown, too. Like, I don't know, maybe week 1 was just a fluke against the Saints. It was just like, we're playing football now.
That was just one of those games we're wondering what happened. And then the last 2 weeks, Devontae Adams has looked like himself.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I think maybe New Orleans came to play Green Bay, and Green Bay just came to play football week 1. That is probably what happened. What kind of cheap wide receivers are you looking that's under like 5K? Because like we're
Um,
looking for some punts.
Manny
Like who?
Sanders at 4,900.
Yeah, I mean Emmanuel Sanders, he's getting this. He's not getting targets, but I mean, like he went off last week with 2 touchdowns and almost 100 yards, but 6 targets. That's going to be. I mean, I guess when you're paying this low for
I
it,
mean, Manny's got an 8, 6, 6, and 8 targets first 3 weeks. Bills are big favorites, so it's a pat. So Buffalo could run it up.
no, they definitely could. I mean, Cole Beasley's seen more targets than Sanders,
Dude, I
and I
think
think
it might be a week where like everybody is for the Bills. You score, you score, you score, you score. I mean, it's one of those weeks the Bills are big favorite. Like everybody could score.
yeah, I'm liking Michael Pittman, but he's kind of priced up right now at 5,400, like where he should be. But I mean, like he's seemed to be the clear guy on that team. Like back-to-back games with 12 targets, like he might be the guy to just put in your like lineup for like salary relief and everything like that. And maybe you
What?
just find a super cheap. Like I don't know who you liking down here in like the cheap discount bargain.
Terrence Marshall is looking very interesting at 4K because without McCaffrey and now Dan Arnold, who's in Jacksonville now, somebody's got to take the slot, and I think Terrence Marshall is that guy for Carolina.
I can see that sort of as like your quote unquote punt play, just doing some things. Trying to think, like, is that really going to get you there though?
And maybe more of a GPP play, Kadarius Toney. Where have you been, Mr. Tony? But 3,300. He's always a big play waiting to happen. And on that fast artificial surface in New Orleans, look out. And plus,
Yeah.
it's not like Slade and Shepard 100% either. So he might be able to play.
Ooh, this is an interesting tag. Amendola is doubtful. What happened to him? He did not practice. I'm acting like Danny Amendola is affecting like Brandon Cooks's price
Are
or
you
target share.
Danny Amendola's with the Texans, right?
Yeah. So I'm looking at Brandon, like it's like Brandon Cook sort of like popped in my head once I saw the doubtful for it. Danny Amendola, but it's just like, well, Brandon Cooks is still eating no matter what. Price is 6,400.
I'm surprised. I'd be surprised if Cooks ends the year with the Texans, but then again, I mean, Houston might not be tanking as much as everybody thinks they will be.
You're definitely right there. Any other discount like cash game plays you think is going to be there,
Not
or
off
is
the,
this more of a
not off the top of my head, but I think it's a low mid-tier range. I mean, Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp look like good plays if you want to spend up for, but I think this is a good 5, 6K range.
it definitely is, and with the running backs too being like good 6K range, 7K range, it seems pretty solid. I mean, we don't have to talk much about tight ends on me. Like I'm a Kelce homer, and I'm going to
Yeah,
see
I'm
if I
like,
can make Kelce work in this lineup.
how many, how you make Travis Kelce work this week?
So right now, while we're talking about it, I got Matt Ryan, Hubbard, Najee Harris, Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks, Lions D. Let me see if I see any other defense that I like better than Lions D.
Can we see the lineups? I popped it where you could share the screen.
Okay.
Why isn't it?
Oh no. No, hold on. My I don't know how to use my computer apparently. No, like my mouse is stuck on my like third monitor.
You've got one of those triple monitor sets at home?
Yeah, and I got one that's vertical. So being a real estate agent is nice to be able to like read contracts and stuff like that. So this is what I got so far right here. And it's just like I need to pay down for a player. So it's just like I don't know, like I guess I'm just waiting for injuries to happen to finish this lineup, I guess. Like I don't know who I'm gonna put here. Like
Here's an interesting thing. Tennessee's top two wide receivers are both hurt right now. A.J. Brown and Julio Jones.
so who's that put up there? Chester Rogers. What's he been doing?
Oh, Josh Reynolds. Either Rodgers or Reynolds, maybe.
Rogers got 6'5" and then 2 targets.
Caught a touchdown, though.
Yeah, so he's going to be my punt play that like it's touchdown dependent. I mean, I guess it's not terrible. What about this Westbrook kid? Is he taking over someone's spot, like an AJ Brown spot?
I don't know. He got 4 targets last week, though.
And a touchdown. So I mean, that's definitely a thing. Who else are they running?
Maybe Josh Reynolds.
You think Josh Reynolds is up there? Let's see.
I
mean, realistically, like I'm just shooting in the dark. Oh, he's got no target so far, and he only saw the field against.
I don't think he's been. But yeah, like all these guys.
Cameron Batson.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at Batson necessarily, but
no, like the more you talk about it, it's just like, just put like Mr. Rodgers in here.
Mr. Rodgers' neighborhood.
What was the other guy? Oh, here we go. Westbrook. He saw 4 targets. I mean, if they're going to be injured, I don't mind paying down for someone's going to get more targets.
And plus, it's not like they're playing. And plus, they're playing the Jets. Anybody could get a touchdown against the Jets.
Oh, this is the moneymaker right here. Who am I putting on my flex? Damian Williams of Chicago. Boston Scott. Man, Boston Scott hasn't really played this year. Well, Philly's also not running the ball at all.
No, Eagles running back has been productive this year.
Poor Marlon Mack just down here, just waiting to be played.
Oh, here would be an interesting one you could do. Take out Cooks, put in Woods, and bring in Nyheim Hines.
Why play Woods when I have Kupp?
Put in Devontae Adams.
Is it wrong to not play Kupp though in this game that's going to be a shootout? Like look at the stat line right here.
I know.
Like look at these targets. Like Max Stafford and him have breakfast every morning. Like
do you notice one thing that's ascending each week? Cooper Kupp's the most expensive he's probably ever been on DraftKings. Devontae Adams is below 8K for the first time all year.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it's just like, I don't know. Like this is tough because why am I going to pay $100 more for around the same productivity when I'm struggling? I'm in the discount bin for like my flex spot at 4,200. Like what wide receiver am I playing at 4,200?
Here's what you do. You take out Cooks, bring in Woods, take out Kupp, bring in Adams, and then you'll have 5,200, which means you can pay for Emmanuel Sanders, you could pay for Nyheim Hines, you could pay for one of those low 5K players. Like Nyheim Hines has been a PPR monster in 2 of the 3 games.
Yeah.
Miami struggled defensively this year. It could be I think it's a good Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines day.
Well, the problem is this could be a game where Jonathan Taylor just like
eats.
Let me see his snap count. Or not a snap count, but his attempts. Man, he's only been rushing that much. So I guess they're just throwing the ball with Carson Wentz. That's crazy.
When you've got Jonathan Taylor. And by the way, Jonathan Taylor this week I think Jonathan Taylor could be an interesting catch play because this is the cheapest he's been in a while. He was $8,000 week one. Now the former Badger 6,300.
Yeah, because I mean, like he's not getting. Everyone thought he was going to be the bell cow, and it's just that's not the case. Like, let me look at the snap share for the Colts real quick. Boom. Games. I mean, he has 42 attempts total. That's not snap count, so it's not going to show me. But we'll look at it last week against Tennessee.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a good game to look at, but let's see who's out snapping who. All right, snap counts. Whoa. Take a guess what players seen the field the most besides offensive lineman and QB for the Colts.
Hopefully Pittman.
Yes, Pittman Jr. at 93%.
Which running back seeing the field?
Hines at 56%. Jonathan Taylor at 48%. Man, so they just line up in 3 wide receiver sets. Like Pittman's at 93%, Zach Pascal is at 89%, and then Paris Campbell's at 80%.
Which you would think the Colts with that offensive line would run the ball all day and night. But I'm not.
I mean, I think everyone's just drinking the Kool-Aid, man, and it's just like they're all like, "Oh, we can't run. We don't have Derrick Henry, so we're just going to throw the ball like 80% of the time." Because let's see. So they have rushed 74% of the times, but they have thrown the ball 106 times. So I guess that's not that bad of a ratio right there.
Be like, wait, so let's just say 75, 105.
So they're throwing the ball almost 70% of the time.
Which is, with Carson Wentz at QB?
Yeah, so it's just like, they're just folding into the mix of like, we're just going to do that. Maybe I should just put Pittman here instead. Because looking at that makes me want to put the guy that's on the field the most.
I don't know, but I think Pittman's too expensive to use in cash.
I mean, he's on the field. Like, let me look at this other 2 games then. So he was on the field 96% of the time, 93% of the time against Seattle. Snap count 90% of the time. Zach Pascal outsnapped him by 1. Again, the 2 wide receivers are the highest non-QB, non-offensive line. And then against Seattle, he was on the field for 97% of the time. This almost looks like a Najee Harris thing. Like, look, again, 97, 91 for Pascal and Pittman. Like, no one else is on the field. The only people on the field longer than Pascal and Pittman are the offensive line and Carson Wentz. Maybe those should be the guys that we're targeting. And maybe I should be punting down to Pascal just because he's on the field so much, even though he's not getting the targets. I got 7 targets. He's getting 5, 6, and 7. So, I mean, like, even though last week was a dud, I mean, like, he's on the field for so much. And, like, that snap count.
And Miami, and it's not like Miami's defense has been that great. I mean, Oakland tore it apart on Sunday.
The problem is that doesn't really save me much money because I'm still down here in I mean, I could put Callaway up here. 5 targets. He only had 5 targets.
I wouldn't play Callaway.
No, I'm not.
Terrence Marshall, maybe. Terrence Marshall, then you got Robert Woods.
I can't play Robert Woods if I have Kupp.
No,
Like
I played Matt Stafford.
I play Zach Moss or Jamal Williams
I
over
played
Woods.
Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Tyler Higbee last week.
Who's Zach Moss playing against? They're playing against Houston. He could get some goal line carries.
He did last one.
Jamal Williams.
Oh, I don't think that's a great script for Jamal Williams.
I mean, it's not. It could be. Like it's almost like maybe it's not. I mean, he's getting targets, but I mean, like I know
DeAndre Swift.
Swift is doing his thing now.
All
What
right.
price is Swift on the slate? I completely forgot Swift was on the slate.
I think Swift's 62.
62. That's really interesting. He's at Chicago. Chicago's probably not a good matchup.
No.
And he's getting all the targets too. Maybe Swift is just a better.
I think if I'm paying that much for running back, I'd pay for Taylor.
Or pay 100 less and get Gibson. Oh my God. Kareem Hunt up there doing his thing. Kareem Hunt, 7 targets last week against Chicago. Jeez.
And that's a better game script this weekend.
Against Minnesota for him?
Could be a shootout.
Yeah. I mean, I would much rather put Hunt in here. I mean, Hunt at first seemed like he was a GPP play, but it's just like they're just running the ball with both backs in Cleveland. Like both of them are getting their shares of targets. Well, Kareem Hunt's actually getting more targets than Nick Chubb, isn't he? Oh yeah, by 1 million.
Yeah, Nick Chubb useless in the receiving game. Kareem Hunt, yeah, a marvel.
3,300.
Oh, that's.
Welcome to the team, Rodgers. Or do I just pay down for the other guy that's getting slightly more targets? You know what? I'll put him up there. I'll punt the 2 wide receivers for the catch and running back, Najee Harris and Hubbard.
And hey, you follow your 3 running back rule.
And paying down a quarterback. And I got Kelce.
Unfortunately, you won't be able to play Kelce on the main slate next week.
Which is fine. Because the week that he wasn't on the main slate, I ended up playing who was it? Who did I end up playing? Fant was one of I think Fant was the one I played.
Fant was the guy I used. I've got
because what's his name got injured. Judy was injured, so week 2 was Fant with what's his name out? Judy out. And I was okay with that. And then Kelce wasn't on the main slate. So man, this snap count that 3 wide receivers. So 2 out of 3 games for the Colts. Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal, and Michael Pittman Jr. have outsnapped everyone else on that offense except for the O-line and Carson Wentz. That is wild.
Yeah,
and I remember everyone was all about Jonathan Taylor. And it's just like he saw the field 55% of the time. Jack Doyle took more snaps than Jonathan Taylor.
What in the world did you just say?
Jack Doyle took more snaps than Jonathan Taylor. Like, that should tell you something right there.
Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see what happens this weekend. So, thanks for hopping on, Charles. Good luck, and hopefully we bring home the bacon this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully this week's going to be a good week for me. Come check me out on fakepigskin.com. I write several articles for them. I make a cheat sheet on players that I target for GPPs, who I want to chalk and what players I do not want to chalk. And then I also have a sports betting article on there too. So hopefully there's a link in the description. Go check me out and show some love to me and other fake pigskin writers.
Yeah, and I'll take that and take that because I write a few articles time to time too.
There you go.
So thanks for hopping on, and we'll see you later.
All right. Thanks for having me.